Gen Z is the first generation that doesn't remember life before the internet, before constant connection, before everything became content. And that changes everything. Not just how they communicate, but how they think, how they feel, how they experience the world. Here's what people get wrong about Gen Z. They're not lazy. They're not entitled. They're not addicted to their phones. They're adapted. Think about it. Every generation responds to the world they inherit. Boomers grew up with stability and possibility. Millennials grew up with promise and then recession. Gen Z? They grew up watching the world fall apart in real time. Climate crisis, economic collapse, social division, school shootings, a pandemic that stole years of their youth. All of it streamed directly into their hands. Psychology calls this collective trauma, an entire generation shaped by uncertainty. You can see it in how they move through life. They don't believe in the same timelines their parents did. Marriage by 25, house by 30, retirement at 65. Those milestones feel like fantasy. So they've stopped chasing them, not because they don't want stability, but because stability doesn't exist the way it used to. Instead, they focus on what they can control: their identity, their values, their community. They ask questions earlier generations didn't dare to. Who am I really? What do I actually believe? Why should I follow a system that's already broken? And when society says that's disrespectful, they don't back down. They question harder. Here's where it gets interesting. Gen Z grew up performing, not on stage, on screens. Every moment documented, every thought potentially viral, every mistake permanent. Psychologists call this the audience effect. When you're constantly aware of being watched, you stop living instinctively. You start curating. Every caption calculated, every photo edited, every story crafted for engagement. It's exhausting, and Gen Z knows it. That's why so many of them are stepping back, deleting apps, going private, choosing real over perfect. They're not rejecting technology. They're rejecting the performance. But here's what's misunderstood. People say Gen Z is too sensitive, too easily offended, too focused on feelings. But that's not weakness. That's awareness. Gen Z is the therapy generation. They talk about mental health openly. They set boundaries without apology. They refuse to normalize suffering. And older generations see that as soft. But it's not soft. It's smart. Because they watched their parents burn out, sacrifice everything for jobs that replaced them, stay silent about struggles that destroyed them. Gen Z said, "Not us. We're not doing that. We'll talk about it. We'll ask for help. We'll prioritize our peace over your approval." So here's the truth about Gen Z. They're not broken. They're responding to a world that's louder, faster, more uncertain than any generation before them. They didn't create these problems, but they're being asked to solve them. And instead of pretending everything's fine, they're being honest about how hard it is. That's not entitlement. That's courage. The psychology of Gen Z isn't about being different for the sake of it. It's about survival in a world that demands constant adaptation. And maybe, just maybe, the rest of us could learn something from that. About honesty, about boundaries, about choosing what actually matters. Because Gen Z isn't the problem. They're the response.